citizen sleeper. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. And we're going to finish this, hopefully, because it sounds like the game is coming to a close. Which is, at least I think it is, but we will have to see, won't we? Let me make sure the stream's all up. Alright, it is. Let's go to Peter first. The docking access is in chaos when you arrive. The staccato burst of welding torches and shouts of crews gathering, the rapid flow of supplies and kit from dock to dock. You can tell already that news of the flotilla's imminent departure has reached this place before you. Okay. Come to join the Exodus, sleeper? Peter approaches you from one of the working crews, a smile on his face and a lightness in his step you haven't seen before. Ooh, are you enjoying this? I hope so. Peter shrugs. Refitting our ship, building systems, improving solutions. That's what half of us live for. Are you really surprised? The eye is under threat. Aren't you afraid? You forget that every person here has fled their home once before. We wake up afraid. At least now we have something to be getting on with. Peter eyes you. I suppose you are here on Soul's orders again? He winks at you. Nothing Ember's hearth like to do more than ordering people around. Let's be straight with him, kinda. You guessed it. Well, Soul has it lucky anyway. His request for us to dismantle the Axis and be the vanguard for the flotilla's onward journey to the starboard belts aligned perfectly with our plans. Oh, what plans you got going on? To leave this damn place, of course. We've been prepping ever since the cordon collapsed. Oh. If we can build our escape and make the hard ships like they are... Ships think we are complying with their orders the same then it's a 2-in-1 for us. Peter shakes his head. Those idiots will never see it coming. You're leaving the flotilla? We are our own flotilla, sleeper. Peter looks away and at the busy Axis. We aren't going to tie ourselves to hearth and step any longer. Why would we? To help them. Peter scoffs. They are taking on evacuees from the eye. That's what I heard. So how about they help themselves before they ask us to make up for their bad decisions? Peter looks down. Look, nothing against you or yours, sleeper, but we have to get out from under the shadow of Step and Hearth. And this is the time, Peter grimaces. We won't let the flux catch us again. Not a chance. And for the first time you see fear in his eyes. Oh. Want to help us to make that leap? Grab a torch, talk to the crew. You're welcome to it. Peter sniffs. Every person here is free to prove themselves. Well, I'll help when I can. Peter nods. Just to stop on the road, sleeper. I'm afraid that's all this was. Peter glances out a window into the docking axis through the outer windows to the stars beyond. A lot of space out there for those willing to take it. He looks out in the eye. I hope you'll be around before we go, but if not, He smiles. Stay strong. And with that, Peter thumps you on the shoulder and heads back to his crew with a purpose, a direction visible in every step of his rapid stride. Okay, what are they needing me to help with? Axis reclamation. As the docking axis is dismantled and the individual ships refitted, as much of the material as possible needed to be reclaimed. The crews of the Ember Song are effective but headstrong and stubborn. They need a direction and management. I knew you'd come. Aki greets you outside the dust house, her eyes as bright as always. You are very welcome here, as always. Good to see you too, Aki. And you, Sleeper. Aki puts a hand on your arm. Walk with me. And she guides you past the dust house. You look inside and see other members of the crew working in the orange dust, planting and tending to the step ecosystem. We are to be the suppliers for the evacuees. I am sure you have heard. We will put the dust house to use. She leads you past the dust house where the dust is less, the orange glow not as bright, the air a little more clean. We are adapting, slowly, but we are adapting. We have to produce food, clothes, necessary things for the journey ahead. She smiles. The plants of Steppe are once again sustaining a population, and that makes me proud. Aki stops at a half-empty dust house scored up with sand. It is being filled with mulch. We brought this from the Greenway. She stares at the green and brown strange sight, even to you, now that you are used to the amber's dust of Steppe. Oh, so they took something from the Greenway to start adapting and improving their ecosystem. That's cool. I admit, it is hard work for us. We are not familiar with these plants. Can you help us? I can meet your eye. There is a lot to do, but I will do my best. Thank you, she nods solemnly. I know that the eye is suffering, that it is at risk. I know that what that is like. Thank you. I wish I had a lesson to share with you from our loss on Steppe. She shakes her head. But for the moment, I cannot see what that might be. She gathers herself. If it gives you some meaning, the work here is steady and worthwhile. But if you do not have time, she smiles a weak smile. I will not blame you. Hold on to your memories, but not too tightly. She pauses. Sadness will not sustain you. That's so true. You shouldn't hold on to bad memories. She falls silent, and you both watch the work in the dust house for a while. You can already see the greening fringe of moss on the mulch in the dust house, the first signs of new life. You will soon be like the people of Steppe, leaving behind a home, or will you be stubborn and hold your ground, despite what it might mean? You wait a little longer with Aki, the moment of welcome suspension in time, a rare moment in this rush towards an end. You glance at Aki and she puts a hand on your shoulder in solidarity. After a short while, Aki sighs. It is good to see you, Sleeper. Perhaps we will see each other again before we depart. She walks away, fingertips brushing against the glass of the dust house windows. Aki turns back for a moment, as if she wants to say something, then thinks better of it, and turns away. Okay, so they need help with the plants and stuff there? Dang. Okay, so I have 3 of them to help out. I need... I guess I'll just have to use up those fucking stabilizers to do this. Because I don't have any more scrap. I'm not going to be able to get scrap if I want to help them fully. Into the cycle. There's some good dice. Okay. Endurance. Okay. Let's go help out Feng as well. Actually, I don't know if I can really help. Since Havenage isn't going to let anyone out. That sucks. That's a sucky thought, at least. Okay, so they will work as security, that's good. The Dust House now has a new function to feed the evacuees on their journey to the Starwood Belt. Oh, welcome, Dreamy. Good to see you again. I have 12 cycles left on this before the game fully ends, so I'm kind of rushing through all these things. Not that I really have to. I need to make sure everything's functional, though. And there's this thing. Let's see if I can get some scrap out of it. Perfect. I'm gonna use all of that. Or at least 2 of it. Okay, next wave I should have 6 dice again. I can't believe I didn't notice that. I might have screwed myself there, but for now... let's do this. Okay, good. Good, alright. We've got one of the ships good and running up. They just keep coming. Perhaps the flux event scared enough people that they really believe the Eye will collapse. Perhaps they are sick of Havenage, or of the councils, infighting, and the hardliners. Or perhaps they just want to take a chance at some new future, a place that's anywhere but here. Yeah, a good number of people seem to want to do that on the Eye. Whatever it is, the evacuees don't stop. They come on the flotilla shuttles, on their own ships, however they can. They've seen so many faces pass that they are almost meaningless, and now a parade of features that seem both familiar and distant. You've been helping people, lifting bags, bringing in supplies, directing them in the berths you helped build. Some of them recoil from your touch, still unfamiliar with sleepers. Others treat you with pity, some with hate, snatching back their bags and storming off. Damn. Still you help. Still you carry boxes and bags. Nothing can stop you. You don't look for Soul. You know that he is busy, just like you, trying to make this thing work, trying to fit as many people as will come onto the Pilgrim Seed. You know you will see him before all this is over. You keep working, but there's something in the back of your mind, something eating away at you. You try to push it to the back of your thoughts, but it keeps coming back. The Eye is over. That is the thought, that the Eye, even if the flux doesn't get it, is on its way out. How can it survive when these floods of people are leaving it behind? It's a thought that troubles you, because it makes you question why you have held on for here so long in a place that seems so temporary for so many people. Are you just a stubborn idiot, someone who didn't get the message? Or are you strong, committing for lasting the storm, for seeing this collapse coming and facing it head on? Because there is something you are sure of. This place, like all places, is temporary. And as each phase passes you, each family packs up and gets on board the Pilgrim Seed, it feels even more temporary, even more fragile. Which means it either desperately needs protecting, or it desperately needs to be left behind. The choice is yours. Let's do this one. And risk it. This is probably a bad idea, but fuck it. Yeah. We did it. Okay, 2 more ships. 6 dice in the next day. Should be able to do it. I might be able to do all 3 things, actually. As long as I keep my dice up like this. Next cycle I might use a stabilizer. Alright. You expertly strip wires and components from the axis walls as you dismantle them. The crews are impressed. I wonder how many crews work on this space station. Because they do sound like they work in groups. Kind of like how Havenage sounds like it's a bunch of different council members leading groups. But clearly they're way more separate and more like pirate-like, it seems like. Because all 3 of these ships have different governing forces almost. Alright. Reroll the 1 into a 1. Perfect. And then use it. hope that it works. Nope. I just became starving instead. Oof. That's not good. All you eat on this ship is mushrooms. The alcohol is mushrooms. You get to buy mushrooms from Infus over here, and I guess that's why the spacer place exists, so that there's at least something else, but it does the same amount of food, so game mechanically speaking. Most of the stuff you eat here is mushrooms and moss and stuff. Okay, I need to use a stabilizer. So Dreamy, how's your day doing? Fine, Fang. Oh, right, Fang could also just not be here. Let's just use one of these. A difficult man. Fang really is a difficult man to find. Let's finish this up. You sit in one corner of the dust house and inspect your work. The dust house, the one where plants from the greenway and some of the steppe species intermingle, has become your favorite. The moss and dust sharing the space in curving terraces, the pale knots of steppe silk fretted with yellowing lycol symbiotes. It is hypnotic arrangement. You look down and see the intertwining of fungal threads and dust-caked roots and feel a little glow of pride of what has been achieved. You hear the entry-level lock in the dust house hiss open, and assuming it is Aki, turn to greet her. It's Rico! The sleeper! I should have known you'd be here. Rico smiles her warm smile, leaning on the crutch. You must be one of the most green-fingered people on the station. Rico! Yeah. Now. Has it been so long? She smiles a wry smile. No need for any drama. I met some of the steppe refugees in the Greenway. They were gathering plants and I confronted them. Turns out they were very friendly, she smiles to herself. Aki was very apologetic, but I told them they were welcome to anything they liked. She told me I'd be welcome to come see and, well, I thought I'd take her up on the offer. She looks around the dust house with its strange hybrid ecosystem. I have to say, I'm glad I did. I'm glad too. You know Aki, though? A little, she pauses. She's a fine botanist and an even finer conversationalist. Two rare qualities on a station in my experience. Rico limps over to you. She holds out a hand. How about you take me on a tour? You take Rico's hand and walk her around the hybrid dust house. You know how the steppe silk knots help provide a strong base for fungal and lycal growth, and how the dust mixes with the spores. You show her the different species of steppe tubers and the way they feed the soil with nutrients that help herbaceous greenway plants thrive. She nods along, her eyes bright with ideas. She stops for a while and gestures for you to sit together. I know something is happening with the eye, Sleeper. She looks out at the plants. We all felt the flux event hit and everyone is talking about what's next. I came out here to figure something out, to understand what I might do all about it all. You glance at her and see the glossiness in her eye, and I think I have decided. What you have done here with Aki and the other steppe refugees have done here is incredible. A whole new ecosystem built from the strange artificial changed remains of two worlds. But I am not of two worlds. I am of the eye. A tear runs down her cheek. Like it or not, I am entwined with the station. I am old growth. I don't have that much time anymore, and it seems to accelerate with every cycle. She frowns. It blurs together, separates, overlaps, comes back to me in strange ways. The time I do have, that's time I want to spend on the eye, in the greenway, watching things grow. She wipes her cheek. One day I'll lie in those fields and not get up, back up. She smiles, the tears track down both cheeks. Aw. And when the green takes me, I'll be so glad. You could leave. Rico nods. You know, Sleeper, when you get to my age, you stop thinking about what you could do and try to better understand why it is you act as you do. I know I will stay. I just need to understand. She wipes her eye and turns to you. But that's enough of me blubbering on about it. She furrows her brow. What I want to know is, what you are planning? I'm thinking of joining them. Rico smiles. Well, we all have to get to know ourselves, Sleeper, to know what it is that drives us. I'm sure you'll decide to act in the manner you know. But you also have to ask yourself why it is so. She places a trembling hand on yours. Don't neglect that. Oh! She suddenly lifts both hands. Don't let me forget this. She reaches into her coat and pulls out a transparent bag of spore and club heads with carefully preserved root systems. I'd like to plant these. If you go, you'll need them. She looks down at her feet. And if you don't, well, maybe another sleeper will benefit. She frowns. I can offer that at least. Thank you. She nods. Don't thank me. These are yours by right. Rico stands and limps over to a pile of mulch. She delicately takes the club heads out and beds them into the soil there with precise, expert hands. You should go, Sleeper. I'll be a while, she calls back, not looking away from the jog at hand. See you around. She says it casually, but there's a note of finality in her speech. Goodbye, Rico. You turn and leave the dust house, cycling through the protective lock, back into the cool quiet of the ship. Aki is waiting for you. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. She is looking through the observation window at the green reflects in her eyes. The plants look happy together. She spots Rico with her hand in the soil. Ah, the botanist came. She shoots you a look. A friend of yours? Something like that. She nods. She speaks beautifully about the Greenway. I should go in and welcome her. She pauses. Are you leaving us? For now. Aki sighs. The first of many goodbyes. She suddenly embraces you, wrapping you in her layers fingers of rough cloth. She pulls back. I wish you a steady step and a clear path, she smiles. A farewell from my world. Godspeed, she smiles. I like how that sounds. Godspeed to you. She nods and smiles you one last warm smile before turning and entering the dust house. You watch as she walks inside, Rico turning with a smile to greet her. She kneels beside the old botanist and you see her pointing to the clubhead asking questions. You are unable to hear them, but despite that, you easily manage the measured. Imagine that the measured, even tone laced with excitement that Rico is using to explain the clubheads, the green way, and much, much more. You turn, leaving them to their conversations. You stepped in light despite the burden you carry, and the smile Rico and Aki were sharing is somehow still on your lips as you depart. Okay, one last ship. Let's go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cycles left. Okay. Let's go try and find Fang. Over here. No, not that. Perfect. That's it. No more wasting time. Peek sighs and pulls out their slate. They crack open a box on the side of the bay shutter and wire the slate onto what's inside. Maybe your friend has a Heavenage passcode or something inside. Peek shoots you a glance. Something they wouldn't mind if we borrow. Fine, but be quick. Peek nods without looking up. I'm going as quick as I can. After a few tense moments, the shutter jerks and begins grinding open, the noise making you jump. Let's get inside. Peek glances around. Quickly. You slip into the dark of the bay, punctuated by the blinking lights of Fang's piles of servers, somehow even more disordered than before. So he has been here. Probably, at least. We just haven't caught him. Peek makes a beeline for the desk at the center, scattered with tools and components. They flick on a lamp and stare at the mess. Are you sure this person can help us? Yeah, probably. You are interrupted by the sound of footsteps from the entrance. Someone has come in behind you. Peek freezes. Fang! Yes! I could swear I closed the shutter when I left. Fang leans on a stack of servers near the entrance. Must be getting forgetful. He grins at you. Fang! Nah, I'm gonna say sloppy. I'm the one who makes the joke, sleeper. Fang smiles. Don't start. Fang raises an eyebrow. Thought you'd come rob an old friend? Is that the plan? Where have you been? I didn't know where you were. I have a feeling you know that already. Fang picks up a tool from the server top, turning the light. I've been investigating that event which hit the station several cycles back. I've heard it called the Flux? Peek cuts in. That's why we are here. Fang smiles, pleading with himself. I guessed as much. I mean, fair, pretty good guess. I saw changes in the old system architecture almost immediately. Some of them have been running since the first days of the station, and so when I met new pattern shifts in logic, I knew something must have happened. These past cycles, I've been doing a total inventory of the core system, from the hub to the rim. He grins. I've surprised myself, to be honest. I don't think I had it in me. I didn't think I had it in me. Peek seems unamused. What did you find? Feng sighs. That's the thing. There's something all twisted up in the systems and protocols, but every time I look at it, it disappears. Peak finishes. Feng turns to you. Do they always do that? Peak ignores him. It's a shadow protocol. It masks itself somehow, bending into the gap between the system and negative space. It is slowly filling every system in the station, slowly taking over, and we need to stop it. You need to grant us access to all the core systems of the station, rotational control, life support. Feng holds up a hand. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow down there. I don't even know your name. Feng shakes his head. And you are asking for the keys to the castle? Can't be done. I'm gonna tell him his name. You can trust Pete. Feng pauses and glances between both of you. How long have you known this one, Sleeper? I know I owe you, but I also know that you trust too easily, sorry to say. Pete cuts in. I can vouch for myself. I came on the Eye on a run from the XPR colony, Hawthorne, with the intent to keep running until we hit the Starward Belt. But since I have been here, I have done everything in my power to protect this place. I have helped to stabilize the refugee flotilla, to investigate the flux, to identify and make a plan to purge the shuttle protocol from the station systems. Meanwhile, Havenage has done everything to stop and slow these actions. I have proven myself as a friend to the people of the station, not the administration, many times over, and I will not be doubted by someone who wears the badge of this corrupt administration. Peak fixes Fang with a hard look. Fang looks down at the Havenage jacket and shrugs. This is all I have in my wardrobe. Look, I have no love for the council either, friend, but someone has to run this place, and that someone is me. Fang walks over to the workbench where you are both standing and digs a slate out of the pile of tools. You want to prove yourself? Show me. Pete grabs the slate, and you recognize the tangle from form of a flux node on the screen. Pete immediately starts tapping away at it, its tendrils unwinding and the shadow just slightly delayed, slipping out of sight. Fang leans in. Interesting, he says to himself. Before long, Peak has unfolded the system completely, and it lies splayed out like an unwound ball of string. At the center, with nowhere left to hide, is the dark stain of the Shadow Protocol, visible for all to see. What now? Fang asks, his eyes fixed on the screen. How do you kill it? That's why we are here. I could just let Peak answer it. There is one entity on the station that we have seen purge the shadow, the gardener. One sec, let me just plug this in. There we go. Feng frowns. Who's that? Who's that? Some Greenway hacker? Pete glances at you. More like an avatar of the Greenway itself. You explain the gardener to Fang, the feeling of descending into the flowering river of consciousness. You explain the networked chorus, the non-human collective of voices. You tell them of the farming AIs offer to you to be networked into the chorus, dissolved in its flow. Then you explain that in granting it access to the AI's major networks, you have to reinforce them. Feng is silent for a moment. And you want to let this thing out. He shakes his head. That's the kind of stupid plan I dream up. I like it. This place is ran with weird protocols and forgotten intelligences anyways. What's one more ghost in the machine? We try to limit it, of course, Peak explains. That's why we want to help to access the eye's major systems, to seed some of the gardener's spores into them, and to draw out the gardener's focus to this place. Fang whistles. So, the only way to save the eye is by growing mushrooms in all the server stacks. He glances at you. Sleeper, congratulations, you found someone weirder than you. That's funny. Pete goes to arrange. I mean, speaking of mushrooms and server stacks, they might already do that in the future. Who knows? They're trying to make mushroom computers. It's pretty cool. Because mushrooms have a mycelium network that functions much like how they would like the networks to function on computers. If not faster sometimes. But they're probably just going to study it for now and make and base patterns off of it. I bet. Anyways, Pete goes to argue with, but Fang holds up a hand. In it is an all-system Havenage pass card with his picture on it. Take it before I change my mind. Thank you. Don't mention it. Fang gives you a look. In all honesty, Sleeper, I was on my way back here to start tearing the place down. The Shadow Protocol had me spooked, so if you are telling me you have figured a way you might fight it. He looks at Peak. No matter how crazy. Then I'm glad to help. He smiles a tight smile. And what will you do now? Yeah, why not come with us? I want to know what he's going to do. It sounds like he probably has plans, which is why he's giving us the card. I have to keep on with my work here. Strengthen those systems. Back up the data. When the worst comes to worst, I'll need to rebuild. I won't let this place die. The last piece of my parents are here, among the data. Oh, okay. Well, goodbye then, Fang. I was hoping you'd join, but I guess you're gonna stay around. Fang embraces you firmly. Stay safe, Sleeper. You take the card and leave the bay with Peak. Once you are outside, they stop you. We should split up. Peak looks worried. We've wasted enough time as is. Head to the facilities in the hub and the free smoke. And the far side of the shipyard. Seed the gardener there. I'm going to find the core control center. That's somewhere on the rim. They hold up their slate. I'll send you a message on your slate when I have something. All right, good. Good luck. They squeeze your shoulder and you exchange fearful looks. Yeah, this is pretty sketchy, but we got 7 cycles to complete it at least. You know deep down that Peak isn't sure this will work, but they have decided to move with confidence, and for that confidence, you are very thankful. Yep. He's pushing it, and it's good. Oh, nice. That tells them about Havenage movements and stuff, too. Life support. Oh, so I literally need to get spores for these. Okay. Alright, back to the greenway. I don't need one here, too, right? How far is this progression? Okay, I'm gonna do one here. Okay. Alright, with that, I'm gonna end the cycle. I think I should be able to get the spores, since it should be, like, what? How many things do I need to put on? Access and see the systems. Okay, it doesn't tell you how many. It just tells you need to. Good, good. 2 more growth spores would be nice. One. Wow. Specifically to spite me. Screw it. There we go. At least we have 3 now. To have any hope of controlling or limiting gardener spread, core systems of the eye need to be seen. Okay then. Get the energy back up. That's the life support system, right? This one too? Okay, so it's 3 locations of that. Okay, good. This one too? No. Where's this last system at? This one, power supply. That's clearly important. Good shit. As you leave, the slate peak gave you chirps instantly. Oh, the slate peak gave you chirps instantly. The one he gave me, like he has a little while ago. Just a couple cycles back. You check and see a message. Found a possible entry to the core facility in the low end. Meet me there ASAP. Peak. A blinking marker gives their position as on the free spoke side on the main block. Okay. Better head to the low end. All right. Peak. You arrive at the coordination given by Peak's slate, a run-down but active corner of the low end, where a short glass-roofed alley turns off from one of the main thoroughfares. You wait in the mouth of the alley, leaning against the wall and watching the street light go by. Children hop across grids, scratched into the floor panels, playing games of their own devising, while older residents sit and talk or play tavla. So they're doing hopscotch. Obvious. It is hard to believe that all of this is a threat. It seems so concrete, so real. How can some intangible protocol erase all of this? As you are watching, a voice calls out to you in one of the tablet tables set up along the way. Oh, it's Kester. Damn, this guy's been a while. You move a little closer and recognize the sitting player immediately. Kester sits, tablet pieces and board ready in front of him, smiling at you. That's a neat little table thing he has there. And he's like, what is he sitting on? A, like, toolbox or something? And then he's got his foot on some records, maybe? Okay. Sleeper! My partner has not arrived for the usual game. Come, please, take her place. He beckons you over standing and nudging you to sit down with him. A rematch is an order. You owe me a game. Almost immediately, Castor begins the game. Everyone on the eye knows how to play tabla. The methodical movement of the counters across the triangular points is a ready fit for the rhythm of life and the ramshackle space station. Most games begin in the same way, with each player moving with independence, focused onto achieving their optimal early game setup. But there is a moment in each game where it becomes necessary to notice the other player, to anticipate the crossing of the counters across the board, a point of contact where routine becomes negotiation and negotiation becomes conflict. As this movement arrives, the subtle shift of the texture, the interaction, Castor begins to speak. I find myself surprised by you continually, Sleeper. He looks over his glasses at you. The way you conduct yourself, for example, suggests an anxious refrain, a defensive, protective quality. But in your Tavla game, he pauses to move a counter. I see only risk. Have you been watching me? Castor sighs. Let's not be paranoid. You are aware of my interest in you, are you not? Risk of the course necessary to play tabla. To move a piece is to expose it, but it should be done with calculation, with proper analysis. Then, if the piece is taken, Castor moves the counter, taking one of yours with a practice swap, placing it beside the board. It is already accounted for. But you move forward with ambition, as if risk was just a secondary effect of action, a consequence, not its primary guide. He gestures for you to take a turn. A cause. I play my way. He smiles. Indeed, indeed. That is all I seek. Move your piece. This locks you into being reactive. If you don't mind me saying so, you are responding, which means you are being led. He leans back to consider the board. This place, it mirrors you, Sleeper. It is also reactive. It was born from crisis, a collapse of Solheim, and ever since it has been reacting without any central guiding principle. No analysis, no calculation. Just look at refugees crisis, for example. It is all risk-taking, little risk calculation. At first, I found the chaos enlivening, especially when trying to track its outcome. But now I find it exhausting. He laughs. It always amuses me that this place is literally spun from the rim. Below this very stack of habitation blocks is the most important control facility on the eye. Spun from the rim. He laughs again. What better metaphor could you find for disorder? His face drops. But why am I telling you that? The facility is precious. Precisely why you are here. The facility is precisely why you are here. He smiles an unsettlingly warm smile. You feel a shiver around your body as if something has changed in the air. What is this? No words come out of your mouth. You feel removed from yourself, watching from behind frosted glasses. Your eyes dart side to side. Inertia sets in. Castor is still smiling. Is he one of the Havenage people or something? The risk you are planning to take here, Sleeper, is not yours to take. Castor's tone is unshifted. He speaks as if this is all some casual conversation between passing acquaintances. You are leaping towards a chaotic outcome with no respect for risk. You see calculating outcomes. That's my specialty. That's why I am here. I was hired as a conduit as a conduit for risk, as a collector of data that might pertain to its arrival. He removes his glasses to clean them, and you see something flickers across their surface, a shimmering stream of characters. 1 second. Ow. This system, this station, is already theirs. Solheim's collapse amid a corrupt corporate fire sale. Assets change hands. My employers, Senetstat, bought out the entire system, and for the past decade have been its one valid owner. He polishes his glasses diligently. Oh, so he's with Senetstat? But to possess this system, the H1 system, he pauses, Helion to you, well, that is a matter of risk, of how much force, how much cost, how much conflict a clearance would take. He replaces his glasses. That risk must be calculated against the favorable outcome. In short, how much is this place worth to us? Oh, that's terrible. So it's Senetstat that's sending out these waves of flux then, probably. For a long time, I'm taking a fat guess there. It very much could be someone else. For a long time, the answer was nothing. H1 could offer nothing that would warrant the risk. But the market changed. But the markets change, the demands shift, and Senetstat, we analyze, we follow, we respond. He puts his glasses back on his face. H1 is about to become the most important system in this part of the galaxy. He glances around. The lone cotton channel operating within range of 7 or so newly surveyed resource-rich systems. The frontier town that feeds the gold rush, so to speak. So here we are, re-evaluating the risk, reclaiming our property, starting up the can channel, and clearing the way for what comes next. He sits back, looking at the board. He gestures. Your move. You will kill thousands. I'm just gonna take my move. You go to lift a piece and something glints across Castor's glasses. You feel the slowness, the inertia begin to lessen. You move your piece, taking one of Castor's exposed counters. He nods. Of course, I do not need to explain myself to you, but in the role as an analyst, in my calculations, I see great promise in you. Your ability to enter systems, to shift them to your will. Not every sleeper has this capacity. I assume you know that, he smiles. It truly is a wonderful happenstance of SNR's technology. I imagine even they are not fully aware of it. He takes his move, claiming another of your pieces. As you watch, you realize the inevitability of his victory. I will make you an offer. To come willingly or come by force, this station will collapse. We can be sure of that. But your ability to work with data, well, for an analyst, that is a very intriguing. He pauses to push his glasses back up his nose. Very intriguing indeed. He glances around. Come with me as a collaborator or as a prisoner. Consider the risk. On one hand, almost certain death. On the other, a possible future. Analyst or not, you must see it. Yeah, I think I'd rather just leave with the refugees. Speak now, sleeper. The game is forfeit. You must see that. He holds out a hand. You are of value. You are needed. You feel a slight release of the inertia that grips you, enough to allow you to speak, to respond. You realize that you are already in Castor's hands, that you cannot move from this place if you wanted. Sleeper! You heard a familiar voice above the crowds. Sleeper, I'm here! You are unable to turn your head to see Peak, but you notice Castor's eye following them as they come up from behind you. Then you see Castor's eyes glance down towards his hands, concealed beneath the table. Sleeper, Peak comes. Thank you, Peak. You have saved my life, I hope. Peak comes from around the front of you and waves a hand in your face. We were supposed to be meeting, remember? They place a... They glance at Castor. Sorry, am I interrupting something? You cannot speak. Castor shoots Peak a wide smile. Hello! You must be a friend of the Sleeper. You must be a friend of the Sleeper. You watch one of his hands lift close to his body, some dark shape concealed in it, a weapon. Oh, he was gonna shoot me. You try to scream, to shout, but Castor's attention remains partially on you. And while it does, you can do nothing. Peak glances at a static form. What's happening here, Sleeper? They put a hand on your shoulder. Are you okay? As Peak stares into the eyes, you see Castor behind his hand lifting, the dark object unfolding. And in the split moment it does, you feel his attention shifting to Peak, shifting away from you. As you feel the inertia lifting and you know this is the moment you will have to act, shove seems like the best answer. Scream sounds like it's a bad decision. Shove it. You lurch forward wildly. Like a sprung trap, your head strikes Peak's chest and then carries them back into Castor. Somewhere some digital screech is echoing through the walkway. They tumble together and the objects in the Castor's hands skitter across the floor. You realize that screech is you. You get to your feet and grab Peak and run. You run as hard as you can, and the scream chasing you down the walkway as you shove through the residence, Peak dragged behind. You run from the cold grip of whatever power Castor had over you, the signals that locked you into this body of yours, that broke the connection and crawled up your spine. Eventually you stop, both you and Peak collapsing, heaving, breathing into the cold metal floor. Oh. Thank you, Peak. Then they are able to speak. Peak asks you to explain, and you tell them everything Castor told you about Stat, the people doing the flux clearly, and their claim on the Helion system. Their reactivation of the CAN channel, the Helion system's growing importance. Its flow out of you it flows out of you in desperate gulps, unable to believe your own mouth as you hear these words coming back out of you. All you feel is the need to push back against the cold hand on your shoulder, the vast cold eye that has turned to look at the system, the ghost limbs of corporate control that are extending their reach. Peak is quiet for a long time. Then they speak. We have to finish this, Sleeper. They meet your eye. We have to complete the sealing of the system. We have to set the guards that are free. It's too dangerous. If the choice is between Gardner and these people, I will choose Gardner every time. Their eyes are cold and steely. I would choose anything over them. You stand together. The final control facility is here. I found it. Peak looks at you grimly. I can take you as soon as you are ready. I know it's here, but I know that we're found out too. Which sounds like we're kind of fucked. Time's almost up. This is the only shot you'll have. that's something else to work. To find the core in the facility, you'll need to trace a path between Peak's back door entry and the derelict levels below. Super dangerous. Okay. Let's make sure the evacuation thing is all good and set up, because I don't feel like anything else is going to be super, how do you say, good or helpful? Good. That was one. And I was hoping it would get both right there. Next cycle, though, it should be good and done. In the cycle. Dang, that's crazy. I didn't think he was, like, one of the bad people. I didn't think he was corporate. I mean, jeez. And he was just sitting on it. Sitting on the control facility of the entire station. Let's go finish this one up too, just because I'm not sure if there's a, like, another phase to it. Alright. Docking axis. The docking axis is a little more than a shell, somewhere that could have been pulled from its interior. Every arm not used for docking has been cut away. That what remains is a Spartan void with a patchwork of flooring and that allows movement. Piles of unusable material are tucked away in corners, but almost everything else has been cleared out. You haven't seen Peter since you last spoke, and now you are realizing that you probably never will. There are plans to be made, escapes to plot, the shadow of Hearth to escape. On the cycle the flotilla leaves, these ships will disperse too, the moons of Ember spinning out on different orbits. The chaos has become a quiet diligence now, as the time for desperate departure is so near. Crews cross the axis from the ship to ship at speed, bringing supplies or advice, perhaps meeting up to discuss travel vectors and hush tones, or to debate why they haven't left yet and whether they should. Among these Singer crews, recognizable for their specialist clothing and often as shorn heads, you see the occasional refuge, a paying passenger or a replacement engineer or pilot perhaps, come from the eye to seek fortune with the Singers. Most of the crews have 2 or 3 of these additions, some more, and you can't help but wish that whatever reason brings them on to throw their lot in with the Singer's crew, they will have safe passage. You feel a strange attachment to these citizens of the Eye, setting out for the first time. And then one of them catches your eye, crossing the axis with the crew, carrying a large bag and a nervous look. Tala, you joining? You freeze for a second. What is she doing here? She glances around, feeling your eyes on her, and catches your eye. Her face brightens immediately. Sleeper! Tala mutters something to her crew and rushes over, dumping the large bag at your feet and embracing you without thinking. Good to see you too. Yeah, what are you doing here though? She sheepishly glances at her bag. Sleeper, she pauses. She pauses again, folding her arms defensively. I'm going to the starboard belt. She waits for your response nervously. Why didn't you say so? She sighs. Do you remember me mentioning my family, Sleeper? My brother? You think back to your gyral blurred conversation in the back of the Bantayan. He came here with me, with my family, when we were little, just after we left Sinza. She bites her lip. He left when we were both teenagers, jumped on some spacer crew heading to the starboard belt. Oh, so you're gonna chase down your brother? She sighs. I'm an idiot. She shakes her head, and I'm going after him. She looks down, not sure what to add. Alone? She looks at you. I guess so. I really don't know if it makes sense or if it is the right thing, but ever since I heard that was where the refugee flotilla was going, well, I couldn't stop thinking about him. What's happening to the bar then? Someone will have to run it. She leaves a long pause. I mean, I can ask Francis. He'd be happy to, or one of the others, she blurts out. And, of course, if you were leaving with the flotilla or someone else, it'd be totally okay. You wouldn't need to say yes. It's no pressure. It's fine. Whichever way, I was just thinking. Oh. I'm not staying, though. This time. That's cool, though. You can stay and run the bar. I don't think I'm saying, though. Right. Tala smiles a tight smile. I could ask someone else, then. It's good she has a bunch of connections, other than me. But, she glances at the crew as she was walking with, who are chatting a little way away. There's not exactly much time. So, consider that. She grabs the key hanging around her neck. The key to the Batayan. Do you want to do it? I can't, I think. That's cool. So you can also stay on the eye. I'm gonna say no, though. Tala nods. I get it. She tucks the key around her neck inside her top. I always do this. Leave everything so late. Make decisions quickly, so I can't change my mind. She kicks at her bag. It's not on you. She looks up, smiling. If you're going to leave, well, maybe we'll see each other out there. She looks out towards the stars. That'd be nice. Maybe once I find my brother. She stops herself. She looks back at you and smiles. I better be going. She nods at the crew nearby. Not a good start to keep my guys waiting. She lifts the bag onto her shoulder. She looks down the curve of the eye towards the overlook. Thanks again, Sleeper, for everything. You helped me. For everything you helped me with, she nods. I wouldn't have been able to leave it if I hadn't made things work here. She adjusts the bag. Dad wouldn't have let me. I'll see you out there then. She smiles. Yeah, something like that. Then Tala turns, headed back to the crew who will carry her to the starboard belt. You watch her go, and despite the departure, it is hard to feel sad about Tala. You know her energy will carry her forward, and hope her brother is somewhere in that bright path. That's cool. You imagine yourself leaving like Tala, unburdened perhaps, or perhaps carrying new burdens. It is hard to tell. Either way, it will be time to decide soon enough. I have a third upgrade point. Let's put it in gauge. Okay, sweet. So I can do a reroll on the one to get another one. Dang it. Well, like, yeah, screw it. If I fail it, I'll just do it. Yeah. I'll just use my stim. Oh, let's go to the other place, just because. Get some food, too. In this cycle this time. One more cycle, I think. Let's help out the eye before we leave, right? Perfect. I've got 4, so I'll turn this in. Let's protect the eye before we leave it, right? Sleeper, here! Pete calls to you from across the flickering corridor. An elevator to the core. They smile. This is it. It has been a long set of cycles hunting for the path through the derelict layers of old Solheim, offices of and workshops. But finally, here it is, the path down to the core. You rush over to peek, and as you do, the doors grind open. The dingy-looking elevator flickering as they do. You look at Peek, who nervously gestures for you to get in. You first. Peek frowns, feeling anxious. They step inside gingerly. The elevator stays stable and you follow them. Peek reaches over and punches the button for the lowest level, flinching a little as the doors grind close. The elevator sets off. Dang, that's some creepy noises. Screeching through the floor as it does, at an unsettlingly loud volume. I'd feel more comfortable if we spoke. Peek raises up their voice over the noise. It's not going to be a short trip. Have you heard of Senate-Stat? Yeah, what do you know about them? Peek thinks. Maybe once, they frown. Could have been mentioned in the XPR news packets. The kind the Central Administration sent out to us. Something about market analytics, I think. They shake their head. When you spent so much time trying to forget your past, this stuff isn't easy to dredge up. Yeah, how's Ash? I was thinking more like small talk, elevator talk. She is packing. They rub their eyes. Once Ash has set her mind on something, well, you know her now. You know what I mean. The screeching of the elevator fills the silence. Will you leave with her? Peek thinks for a moment. I don't know, Sleeper. I honestly don't know. Part of me wants to run, to keep running for as long as I can. I am used to that. But another part is done with that. It is done with denying my past, my history. If I ever want to feel complete, to feel settled, don't I need to somehow resolve the person I was with the person I am now? Pete goes quiet. You do too. Dang, I cut off the conversation with that. Only 2 conversation topics you get to do on the elevator, right? There are too many possible questions, too many possibilities before you. It just seems easier to get on with the task at hand and leave the consequences for later. The elevator screams to a stop and the doors ping open with a strangely cheerful beep. You glance at Pete. Time to move on. You both walk into the atrium, still lit by some ragged-looking sunlight panels on the ceiling, once simulating a summer sky, now degrading into a flickering blue and white tapestry of glitches. Oh, that sounds terrible. Pete crosses quickly, making a beeline for the large doors on the far side, where you can make out a fading sign and massive peeling letters, Central Control. You follow, helping them lever open the partially powered door until the motors kick in and they spring to life, thudding open. You and Pete tumble through across the damp metal. As you stand, you are greeted by flickering lights, thousands of them. A vast cylindrical stack of servers, processors, and transmitters dominate the center of the room, its flickering LEDs reflecting in the scattered puddles of what's around it. Despite the decay, the wrapped panels, and the water leaks, it is still running, just as it has for decades and decades since the station was first spun up. You wonder how long it has been since anyone has been in this room. You exchange wide-eyed looks with Pete. This place is a still living piece of him. What now? What's next? Pete takes a handful of mulch out of the small bag and delivers the spores. Now we see this place. They cross the server and start packing the mulch into the machine, pushing the fistfuls deep in the gaps in the panel, laying it across hardware. As you watch them doing this, you feel a tug, a thread pulling at you. You approach the vast piece of cylindrical hardware that Pete is stuffing mulch into. You run your hands across its bladed metal surface and watch the lights blink in response. As you pass, you hear a whirring, like a physical disk drive starting up. Listen. The whirring shifts alternating, speeding up, slowing down, and as you listen, you hear it modulate into a voice. Sleeper, you freeze. You are here. For a moment, you are afraid, but something in the totality of the voice is familiar. Navigator. Oh, Navigator? Another device spins up, and another giving the voice a richer, multi-tonal sound. I've forgotten what it felt like to speak like this. The drive skip. There is a certain quality to it, a certain physicality. I don't know how the voice should sound. I feel like I've already done a robot voice. What are you doing here? Yeah, what are you doing here? The drives squawk in unison. Did you imagine the flux, the squad protocol, that they were just a problem for the people of the station? A high whining begins. They're all the more dangerous to us. I have been in hiding once more, jumping from network to avoid the shadow as it eats up nodes. A low rumble. I have thought my hiding days were done. For the moment, I have found myself a safe haven here in the core. The shadow has yet to breach this facility. Although that is a temporary state of affairs, the rumble stops. My predictions do not point to good outcomes. Well, that's why we're here. You explain to Navigator about Peak's plan, about the Gardener's resistance to the shadow, and how by seeding the key systems you will protect them from its advance. The drives hum thoughtfully as you speak. A desperate plan, but appropriate given the probability of total collapse. I am not sure what will be worse for us, hiding from the erasure of the Shadow Protocol or the assimilation of Gardener. The drives pause to reset. but we owe you our freedom. Good. So we are gonna help them get free. Again. I will do what I can to guide the gardener into the systems you have seeded. A pause. It is correct to do so. Thank you, that would be super helpful. The drive squeak in affirmation. You have noticed a persistence, Sleeper. Even with such poor probabilities of success, I will be curious to see the outcome. The drive squealed, the motors giving out. This cannot be sustained much longer. Go, we should be fine. Good luck. Final squeak of affirmation, and then the drive skittered, slow to a halt. Okay then. You step back from the towering cylindrical, staring at the vast piece of Solheim hardware, the protocol, and company hardware from engines that drove decades of corrupt expansion. Is the eye proof that they can be shifted, been forced into new configurations that allow for new ways to live? Or is it inevitable collapse proof that these engines of expansion can never be anything other than a corrupt foundation? It seems to depend on who you ask. Done! Peak shouts break your line of thought. The heat and damp should help the spores germinate quickly. If we are lucky, there is enough time for some growth before we reconnect the Greenway. They glance at you. That's it. All the facilities seeded? They sigh. We either just ensured the eye's survival or stuffed a whole lot of soil into one of the most important computers. That is exactly what I was thinking too. Shall we go? They start to head down towards the doors in the elevator beyond. Yeah, we should. Lollygagging. You turn your back to the core and follow Pete back into the elevator. As you ride the car back up, Peak raises their voice over the screeching. I'm going to the Founder's Gap to finalize the connection. The moment I'm ready, I'll let you know, and we'll let the gardener out. The sooner the better. Peak furrows their brow. If we wait until the final cycle, it'll be too late. True enough. If you want to help speed things up, go work with the flotilla. We can't make the connection until we know they are ready to go. Peak swallows. Unleashing Gardener could affect them too if we aren't careful. And what happens then? Peak shrugs. I don't honestly know. Maybe Gardener takes over the station. Maybe they don't even react, they sigh. I can't think about it any longer. You ride the rest of the way up in silence. When you reach the top, you go your separate ways, but before you do, Peak embraces you, burying his face in your shoulder. You stand there together for a moment, spinning with the eye, moving restlessly towards an unknown future, and then they let go and slip away, the pressure of their hug fading like a bruise as you begin to leave. An upgrade point. Okay, I did everything. Okay, let's get some scrap. And if I get another ship mine, I can just craft a ship mine and sell it. There's no need for it after all. Oh, wait. Working? You mean cooking? Delicious, delicious mushrooms. I couldn't imagine how bad it would be to eat just mushrooms every single day. Okay, now do I just have to wait a couple cycles and then shit'll happen, or is it just gonna happen the next cycle? That's the question right now. I think I have to just wait it out, so... What do I do with these leftover dice? Okay, let's just grow some mushrooms, I guess. Fuck it. Oh yeah, let's get these mushrooms out. Oh nice, you can cancel it midway through. I didn't know that. Grow some extra mushrooms before I leave. I can also work at Mingi's. Get some energy back. Boom! 3 energy and 8 cryo. I did a good work day. I don't know why I just crossed the gap. I was literally right there by my dorm thing. My squatter's nest. Yes, Peak's slate chirps in your pocket and you take it out. The message, the connection is ready. Meet me in the Founder's Gap, Greenway side. Peak, you clench your jaw. It's time. There's only the Greenway side. Because I can't go around the other direction of this ring. Okay, where's he at? Oh my god, they already left? What? I'm confused. Where is he at? Oh, there he is. I went right past him. You find Peak waiting near where you first met, at the entrance to the docking tunnel for the Founder's Gap ferry. They are leaning beside the wall in the flickering light, and you realize now how different they look from when you first met. There is a darkness around their eyes, a sense of exhaustion to their pose, but also a solidity, a sense of purpose and self-knowledge. They look concrete, for want of better words, solid. He's looking solid right now. Sleeper! They spot you and a small smile across their face. Glad you came. I wouldn't be anywhere else. They smile. Crunch time, and they shake their head in disbelief. Let's go. The break in the connection is up ahead. They walk away from the ducking tunnel into a ragged, half-crushed corridor that descends into darkness. They poke their slate at the torch as a torch flicks on, lighting the way ahead. Nice. As you descend through the layers of the broken edge of the eye, Peak talks, filling the silence. I had to hunt all over this part of the eye to find the point where the connection was broken. They run a hand along the buckled metal of the wall, stooping under the angled ceiling. This hole, the gap, got knocked in the eye when Solheim collapsed. It's impossible to tell who did it, but my guess is they tried to scuttle the eye. If Solheim couldn't keep hold of their fancy new station, well, no one could. Peak ducks through a fractured passageway with hanging wires like vines. So, this place has always been on borrowed time. I've managed to weave together the old connection and run a new patch down where the main line still runs over through the remaining ribs of the rim. They smile. Just like keeping those old XPR platforms running. Ash would be proud if she bothered to help. As Pete goes quiet, the corridor opens out into a wider, twisted passage with compartments on either side, thick with wiring. Here, this is the connection point. You can see where Peak leaves off a panel and hooked up a thick cable to the existing hardware. As thick as a tree trunk, it shakes off into the dark ahead, its yellow rings making it look like some huge and exotic serpent. That sounds cool. Serpent tree. You did all this? Peak nods. It was an interesting challenge. Plus, it helped me keep my mind off of things. Peak smiles a weak smile. There's a lot I'd prefer not to think about. You both stand there, staring at the point where the new cable meets the old one. The end separate fitting with multi-pin male and female connectors and braces inside a metal framework with a scissors mechanism. Bring them together, seal them, and the greenway will be connected to the rest of the eye for the first time in decades. Peak shifts their weight onto one hip, pushing their hair out of their eyes. I feel like this should be more momentous, like there should be some ritual or ceremony. They pause, or someone should stop us from doing this crazy thing. Are we sure this is right? It isn't crazy. Peak nods. I mean, I'm not being funny, Sleeper, but this whole thing is crazy to me. Peak shakes their head. Leaving Hawthorne with Ash joining the flotilla, coming here, meeting you, the flux, the chateau, everything seems crazy. They laugh a hollow laugh. So I suppose this is at least consistent with all that. Yeah. They take a deep breath. Okay. They look at you with a mild panic. They hold both sides of the supporting framework, ready to scissor it closed. Here we go. Peak wrenches the framework closed, and the connectors thunk together with a sound that echoes down the ruined corridor. sides. Both you and Peak wait with bated breaths, unsure what is you are waiting for. Do you expect the eye to suddenly stop spinning or lurch into its axis for the power to go out, or a shockwave to run through the corridors of the grim? That would be bad. You meet Peak's eyes, and suddenly they burst out laughing. What are we waiting for? They put a hand on their forehead. I feel like we just planted a tree and are expecting it to burst out of the ground. They shake their head. But you feel it. You feel it flowing like a stream that has been released from a cave and rushes out into the sunlight, crystalline and clear. You swear you can hear it running in the wires like water, like rain, like steam. It doesn't roar or rattle, but it rustles and writhes there like liquid roots. But code liquid roots. Peak sees the look in your eyes and stops laughing. You can see it, can't you? You can't see it, not with your eyes at least, but it is everywhere, and now it is not. It can't be put back in, that much is clear. You imagine the rim of the eye like a sponge, like soil soaking up the gardener and their chorus, the gaps filling with burbling, constant, growing life. Peak stares at you, waiting for something, anything. Gardener is free. I think. Something definitely changed, at least. Peak nods slowly and closes their eyes. They go to speak with the words, but the words fail them. Suddenly, Peak's slate chirps. I imagine if Gardener wasn't disconnected from the rest of the station, he wouldn't have become as sentient because the security protocols probably would have taken him out, right? I'm just randomly thinking that finally right now. It's cool. Suddenly, Peak's slate chirps. They jump and scramble for it, almost dropping it in the process. But when they stare at it, a look of confusion crosses their face. Is it the gardener? What happened? Peak's mouth falls open. It's Esh. They swallow. She's leaving. They look at you with panic. Before you can speak, they have turned away and are moving back up the passageway, back towards the entrance. Peak! They don't turn, don't respond, and you watch their silhouette, lit by the slate's torch, disappearing rapidly around a corner. You take out the slate Peak gave you and turn on the torch. The wires all around look like the pale roots in the harsh light, and you turn away from them. They are the gardeners now. You work your way back through the corridors, retracting your steps. You imagine Peak panicking, running towards the cordon, realizing that the greatest fear has come to pass. You wonder if they will be able to persuade Esh to stay. Probably not. I wonder if he'll join Esh. If Esh is going, you think that then the flotilla must be leaving too. The thought makes you shiver in the darkness and you push it away. You are not ready. You focus on avoiding the hanging wires, the low ceiling, and making your way back into the lit corridor of the Founder's Fairy Dock. Castor is waiting for me. Fuck. Low-end data fence. He's got a cool baggy outfit. It looks all very concise. He holds up a hand. Now, sleeper. No need to fear. He raises an eyebrow. I understand now it was my mistake to try to force you. A miscalculation. Why are you here? Good questions you are. Good questions are good. He pushes his glasses up his nose. I am more than happy to answer any you may have. I won't hold you here, sleeper. Castor stands to the side. But I wish to speak. I don't owe him anything. I don't owe him anything. And he pointed a gun at me, I think. He, like, tried to Han Solo me right there. At least, I think that's what was happening. It looked like he had a weapon in his hand. And he has his hand in his pocket. I still think he has a weapon in his hand. I'm not joining them, so leave. Yeah, let's just leave him. There is nothing Castor can say that you want to hear. He speaks for Senate Stat, and they have no hold on you. You approach Castor. And as you approach, he speaks quietly in an urgent whisper. I do not wish to see you lost. You are of great value if you ever want to see that realized. You push past, ignoring him, and his voice fades. The last you see of him is his slow nod, perhaps a mark of resignation, or just another deferential gesture aimed at manipulating your response. It doesn't matter either way. You're done with him. You head towards the cordon, peak in the flotilla in the forefront of your mind. Alright. Let's go to the flotilla. Okay, that works. You arrive in the chaos of the cordon. The final shuttles are leaving the ramshackle docks that have formed. Along the edges of the gap during the flotilla's stay. As you do, groups of evacuees push on board, hoping to be among the final people to escape from the eye. The fear created by the Flux event became a series of rumors, and those rumors have driven many out of their homes. Others have staunched to double down on their position on the eye, refusing to accept any gossip of a second collapse. Yeah, whoever stays, I assume, just wants to stay because there's too much here that they don't want to leave behind, or they don't want to believe it, even though it's staring them right in the face. You are unsure what you think. Is the collapse a certainty? Will Peak's actions, the cycle, have changed anything at all? You are tired of these questions and instead set out to look for your friends. Good. You quickly spot Peak and Esh at the far side of the chaotic bay. You quickly make your way through the crowd, slipping between the gaps in the rushing evacuees, stepping over bags and luggage. Like they said, it would cause chaos, but at least this chaos is needed, because the eye is pretty fucked up. Progress is slow, but as you approach, you can hear their voice over the crowd. You try to push closer, but there are many evacuees gathered around them in their shuttle. You have made your decision, Peak, and it puts you against me. Esh is standing with one foot on the boarding ramp, while Peak agrees with her. The evacuees are eyeing them, eager to intervene, but intimidated by Esh's evident strength and attitude. Esh, it doesn't have to be like this. Peak looks desperate, tracks already on their cheeks. We can find a way. Esh shakes her head. I have always protected you, Peak. I have taken you under my wing. But I understand that you are not mine to control, and you have chosen to be here and not with me, despite everything. I have chosen to stop running, Peaks cries out in frustration. You can choose to stop running too. You can stay here and try to live. Do you remember what it feels like to live, Esh? Ash turns away. I remember what it was like to live on Hawthorne, what it was like to be worried for your safety every cycle, to live under the control of my mother, of the administration, to work to maintain something that no one wanted, no one needed, so that our corporation could maintain a foothold on this system. So your mother was the head of one of the corporations? And you ran away? That's what that sounds like. You talk as if this place, in the very same system, is any different. That what is there here but the same grind for those masters, for employers, administrators, for those who gain from our struggles? There is the flotilla, which is not a corporation. It is a refuge. It is a refuge running away. What is there here but the same grind for other masters, those who gain the struggle? They may not be a corporation controlling the eye, but there is control. There is power in action here. So what then? Peak shouts. You run from anyone or everyone who could ever be close to you in search of freedom? In search of some specific place where no one has power over you? Peak is crying openly now. Oh. I want to be part of something, Ash. Even if it is broken and suffering. Even if it cannot be free. Ash pauses and takes a deep breath. She nods, her eyes closed. This isn't Hawthorne anymore. We aren't tied by our childhood or our shared need to escape. We are both just people in this system. She opens her eyes. I release you, Peak. You are free of me. Ash, please. They hold out a hand. There is a life here if you want it. Ash turns and smiles at Peak, her eyes wet now too. Then you live it for me, Peak. I can't. And she climbs up the boarding ramp, and the evacuees taking their chance to climb on board too. You watch as the shuttle closes its ramps, lifts off, and leaves the bay. The crowd are dispersing now as they get onto the shuttles or say their goodbyes and move back into the main part of the cordon. You push past the last of them and reach Peak too. Peak doesn't turn to come closer. Sleeper, Ash is gone. Then why don't you follow her? You should go too if you really want to. Peak shakes her head. No, I'm not. I'm sure now. They look at the flotilla. This is the way it should be. Oh no. They turn to face you. I'll miss the Briar, but she'll serve Ash well. I know that. Sleeper! The shout takes you by surprise, and as you turn, you see Soul coming across the bay towards you. The last two shuttles loading up behind him. He reaches you, his suit hissing as he does. Can't believe you'd made an old man run across the bay to get you. He pauses to take a breath. The Singers have gone. They left at the start of the cycle. They broke away from the flotilla. So it's because they left. They're kind of forcing the flotilla to start moving. You smile as you think of Tala safely cradled within one of the singer ships, on her way to the starboard belt, and hopefully in a reunion with her brother. Godspeed, Tala. Yeah, Godspeed to her. What are you smiling at? Saul interrupts your thought. They've forced our hand. We have to leave now. Saul shakes his head. If we follow close enough behind, maybe they'll end up being our scouts anyway. I reckon any hostile spacers out there will give them a wide berth. Pilgrim's Seed will need a little time to make our way out of the cordon. Pilgrim Seed will need a little time to make our way out of the cordon. But I'm heading back now to get her started. Thankfully, the step ships are sticking with us, so we'll be plenty well supplied for the journey to the belt. He pauses. Anyway, I didn't plod all the way here to tell you that. I knew fixing their ship would have the worst one. Damn it, guys. But I'm good with to my word, and I kept a berth for you. But this is your last chance to take it. He scratches his beard. Make a call. Oh, it looks like I'm leaving. They glance out of the flotilla beyond the bay, beautiful in the light of the Helion sun. You think of the long journey to the starboard belt, of the people inside the Pilgrim Seed, of the possible futures that await. Then you think of the people here on the Eye, of Peak beside you, of the small shifts yet to come and the routines that ground you, of promises and possibilities. Leave. You open your mouth to speak and realize this is the final time you will make this choice. You have to be sure. I'm leaving. You say the words, and they seem to carry your heart out of the mouth with them. You feel lightheaded, spinning, as if you tumbled out of the bay into open space. Soul nods. Come on then, let's go! You freeze for a moment, feeling Peak's presence beside you, and the moment to speak disappears. Good luck, Peak. Peak nods. You two! They manage to squeeze out the words before going silent. And then you are walking with Saul across the bay, almost without trying, your step light, your head is spinning. Saul grips your hand to help you up onto the shuttle ramp, and as he does, you feel the thick texture of his worn hands in great detail, as if you were touching some cratered landscape. You grip them tightly as you get on board. As the ramp begins to close, you see Peak watching at a distance, their face half covered by their hand. There's the light. They raise a hand in farewell, and as they do, you see that something is in their expression that you can't quite place. A sense of determination, perhaps, or a compressed anger, something that will drive them forward from that point on, to a future you can believe will be there. And then the shuttle ramps close, and the metal box you are inside rumbles and tilts. Some of the evacuees with you screech at the sudden movement, but they settle as the ship carves its way out of the bay towards the flotilla, towards whatever comes next. When you arrive there, you find a berth, just as Soul promised, tucked in among the hundreds of others, like a strange neighborhood of tiny flats. The communal canteen, the water supply, the farm stacks, these sharp spaces will become the center of this new reality. The place where stories are shared, where signals and messages from the ships of the system and the Eye itself are interpreted and discussed. You will find yourself unable to resist listening to it in any conversation about the Eye, any scrape of data or detail. This is how you will hear that another flux event hit not longer after the flotilla left, one that knocked out the power for the whole free spoke. They say disconnecting the hub from the rim for many cycles, one that crippled many systems and cost many lives. No! I did everything I could to fix the flux too. But the flotilla, having departed with enough time, will outrun the flux, and you and all the evacuees will be thankful for this mercy. You will also hear of the strange growths that people started reporting around the station in the wake of this event. Fungal crusts that push through pipes and wiring. Rumors of the Eye going wild and fecund will travel quickly through the Pilgrim Seed, telling stories of a station of increasing unpredictability, prone to a seasonal rhythm of spore clouds and sudden growth spurts. As your long journey across the system becomes a dull routine of the same faces and places, you will delight to overhear that the Eyes persist despite everything, that crippled systems are rebooted and replaced, that the new season of growth and decay bring with them a plenitude of resources and surprises. That sounds cool. You will hear that Havenage has consolidated their power around the hardline group led by Kemp, but this will push them further from the people of the Eye. As they decay, new forms of station administrators will rise, though the hardliners will persist as a dangerous force. And after a long time, you will find the stories of the Eye become less the signals and messages fewer, replaced instead by a new array of broadcasts, this time from Senate Stat, setting legal proceedings and quoting deeds of ownership, stacking a claim on the system. These messages will set the rumor mill of the Pilgrim Seed spinning, and you will rarely have a moment when you don't hear mention of that company and its claims. Occasionally, on the long trip, you'll make a pilgrimage to the dust house on a supply shuttle and gather themselves from among the mulch. You'll talk with Aki as they are processed into stabilizers and hear of how the plants are changing, adapting, becoming ever intertwined in this new and unpredictable ecosystem. And then, in the final part of your journey, as you reach the far parts of the system where new signals travel and the starward belt grinds the systems like a defensive ring, there will be a distant report of another fleet entering the system under the banner of the all-too-familiar Conway extractions. By the time this happens, you and the evacuees will begin to discuss these events less and less, perhaps in the hope of avoiding being implicated in the coming corporate war. And finally, one cycle far from this moment, you will arrive at an asteroid port in the starward belt. One you have yet to know, and you and all the evacuees will be released into. In the moment, half a system and hundreds of cycles away from the Eye, you will think back on your time there with equal sadness and fondness. And then you will step out of the Pilgrim Seed, never to return, and once more try to make a future for yourself that might be different to those false futures promised to you so many times. But for now, you remain on the shuttle, angling its way towards the bay of the Pilgrim Seed, carrying the hopes of all who tremble quietly within it. And in this moment, you feel the Eye release you, just as Ash released Peak, and it feels so good. Alright, that was a cool way to make a game. That was a cool RPG game, and I really liked it. I'll probably play the second one at some point, but I have to wait for that for now, because I have other plans to play Hogwarts, because that game's also a cool game to get, and I've been wanting to play it for a while now, and I just recently got it. So, maybe I'll be doing that, or I'll be doing Ina's barbecue, depending on if I can get my computer to work for making streams and stuff. Yeah. It'll be exciting, but that'll all be picked out later. Maybe I'll put up a vote or something for next week's stream. I don't know, but I'll be seeing you all then whenever I do. This is such a short credit sequence because there's really just a few people that really worked on it. And it's mostly like translations and stuff that you see because one guy made this. Jump Over the Age is this game studio. It's just, that's really cool. Games by Gareth Damian Martin. I hope he makes more games other than Citizen Sleeper at some point, because that would be cool. But Citizen Sleeper 2 is already out, so maybe you should check that out before I do. If you're interested in the Citizen Sleeper series. But if not, I hope you enjoyed this and had fun. I'll be seeing you all in the next stream though, so bye.